With the current conflicts in the Middle East, with the US and Israel attacks on Iran and the retaliation by Iran, we've seen a pattern emerging where we have the US and Israel saying that Iran posed imminent threats by possession of materials that alleged to be nuclear and possession of long range missiles, and they felt that they had to go in. And now we see the response of Iran, you know, even with the degradation of the Iranian leadership, even with degradation, taking out the supreme leader Ayatollah Khomeini and other top security leadership, national security leadership, and taking out of key members of the Iranian regime, we've seen that Iran has been effective in the attacks it's carrying out against US forces in the Middle East. You know, missiles and drones have been attacking several US military bases in the Middle East, in several countries. There have been attacks, in Israel, you know. So Iran has been effective. And not only that, Iran has been strategic in its attacks. The attacks are not just random, you know. Yeah, some of those attacks may not hit their intended target, but the attacks by the Iran is not random. Iran is attacking radar systems, is attacking systems by which the US military relies on in order to get early warning about missiles and hostile things that are coming towards the Gulf, other Gulf countries. Iran is attacking that. Iran is attacking refueling airplanes. There are US airplanes that used to refuel other aircraft in order for them to carry out missions without having to return to base to get refueled. You know, so they've been attacking the ability of the US to detect the US and Gulf countries to detect incoming missiles. They're attacking the ability of the US to refuel airplanes. Then they also attacked the aircraft carriers. They were aircraft carriers, you know, USS Gerald Arrowford, USS Abraham Lincoln, that was part of um, uh, the, the, the a part of the resources by use that are deployed by the US government to prosecute this war. Because of those attacks, the USS F. Gerald has been taken for repairs and out of the field theater of war. Then the Abraham Lincoln has been moved further away, you know. So from the statement made by Trump, we see that those aircraft carrier came under attacks, and that's why they have to be moved. So if those aircraft carriers, they have guided systems by which they can intercept incoming missiles and stuff like that. So if the aircraft carriers were moved out, you have radar systems being attacked, we have refueling, the military bases. Several US military bases in the Middle East have been attacked. The US military personnel are moving from those bases and going to civilian hotels and residential areas because of the attacks. So we're seeing that Iran has responded in such a way that has put the US on in serious dilemma, in serious trouble. And how did Iran achieve it? It has achieved it through cooperation with Russia. There have been intelligence. The Ukrainian president mentioned it. Intelligence service that Russia is providing satellite imagery to Iran, and it does satellite imagery and possible technical guidance in how they were able to succeed in attacking US military bases in Gulf countries. Iran has been able to effectively close the Strait of Hormuz, only allowing ships that we only align certain ships, their own ships or ships of countries that they don't have a problem with, or they have alliances with. You know, they've been effective in closing the Strait of Hormuz. They've disrupted, the economy of Gulf countries, of the Middle East countries, and all that. So Iran has really been effective, you know. And at this point, even with the degradation of Iran's military leadership, Iran has been able to make their case and make their say. You know, President Donald Trump has been surprised by the extent, the sophistication, and the extent and the ferocity of the counter attacks that are coming from Iran. And he has openly said that you're not expecting that level of response. And that goes to show a lack of preparedness. And it goes to the military, Wall Street Journal and others. They warned the Trump administration, US military had warned Trump administration not to go ahead with the attacks in Iran. And the attacks in Iran was not supposed to take place that February 28th when it started. It was supposed to take place somewhere later in the year. But because they had intelligence that Ayatollah Khomeini was going to have a meeting above ground on a Saturday morning, you know, and they had a window for which through which to carry out that attack, and they already had resources in the Middle East region to defend whatever counter attacks that came. So bottom line is that, and we've seen the disruption in the Strait of Hormuz, the natural gas, oil prices, food, fertilizer, and all those things. We've seen how that has happened. So it shows there was a lack of preparation on the part of Trump and Trump administration against some of these things that are taking place. Will now Trump is doubling down. There are reports of Marines expeditionary units coming to the Middle East. Deployment of U.S. troops. Would that not be a red line? There are those who are supporting Trump, the MAGA. They've said no boots on the ground, putting American troops in Iranian soil, putting more American lives, at risk would be a red line. Would that not be something that Trump should be wary of? Or since he's not going for another election, does he say down the consequences? So we see how that is playing out. US Trump appears to have walked into what a prof called the uh, uh, entrapment, escalation trap, and we see how that is going on, you know. So, like I've said, even if you claim you were anointed or selected to carry out what you call a divine mission, mm, you still need counsel and guidance. Otherwise, as an imperfect human and an imperfect leader, you can still do dumb things and make dumb decisions which will have really, really bad consequences for the country and for the people and for the allies and people who rely on your leadership.